Dreams, they say, do come true, and today it did once more for 27-year-old chef Hilda Baci. Her many years' ambition of writing a name in the sands of time becomes a reality as she breaks the Guinness World Record for longest cooking by an individual. Today is the fourth day and the atmosphere is carnival-like with people from all walks of life turning up to cheer Hilda to victory. Celebrities including Akpororo, Nancy Nsime, Ara, and Yolua, amongst others, joined the growing list of celebrities who've been turning up to show support. In an earlier statement posted on her social media page, Hilda described her motivation as desire to tell positive stories about Africa with food, and she has, with her cooking, cutting, and many other kitchen chores. At the 45th minute of the 87th hour, she breaks a standing record held since 2019 by an Indian chef, Lata Tandon. But it isn't enough. She's going ahead to extend the lead amid cheering from her growing fans. Her quest to make history has generated so much buzz among Nigerians who are still rallying support for her, both on social media and at the venue of the Cookathon. She's been receiving commendation messages from important personalities including President Muhammadu Buhari, the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu, other 2023 presidential candidates including Atiku Abubakar and Peter Obi, and the Governor of Lagos State, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who visited in person. The exercise has provided different moments, and even in the face of obvious exhaustion, she pushed on to a desired moment of victory at our 140 minutes. Being a Guinness World Record holder does not have any monetary benefits, but has some other benefits such as global recognition, including the Guinness World Record Certificate, which is accepted around the world.
I wonder if I can do the longest unbroken speech, whatever. Just keep talking for the longest number of minutes. I don't know if I can do that, but
presentation, longest marathon presentation.
Just keep talking. But you know, I don't know if I can do what Hilda Baci did. But hey, let's hear from her this morning. Hilda Baci, the chef whose hold on the Guinness World Record for marathon cooking is under review. Thank you for joining us this morning, Hilda.
Thank you so much for having me. Good morning.
It seems you haven't quite rested enough, I can imagine. Let me begin on this comical note. One of the things that we saw was that on social media is that some people want to claim you for Ghana. Are you a Ghanaian?
No, I'm not. I'm a Nigerian from Akwa Ibom State.
Okay. Well, you definitely have been, getting a lot of comments and all of that from people. How has it been so far?
The love has been very incredible, It's... In fact, I've been overwhelmed with love in a very good way. I didn't expect it to be this massive, but I'm very grateful, for the opportunity.
Well, you have been an actress, you have done a number of other things, you run a restaurant from what we understand. But why have you decided to settle for being a chef as opposed to being an actress and other things that you're capable of doing?
I wouldn't call being a chef or a restaurant owner settling. Honestly, it's more, this is something that I've always done. It's something that I've always wanted to do. So even when I was a TV presenter, and that's not to say I'm no longer, a host, because I'm still very capable of doing those things. Is more, I chose to apply myself more here because, I needed to focus on this aspect of my life and the business aspect, to basically build a system. And even when I was on TV, what I did was host a cooking show and host a cooking segment on a breakfast show. So some way, somehow, even in the other aspects of, my career, cooking still pretty much shines out, the best. And I would say it was like, it's what God wants me to do, because the minute I started my business, the response to it was amazing. The response to it has been amazing. And, that's just a testament to show that, this is what I'm meant to do. And I love doing it. So for the most part, it doesn't feel like work. We get to the working side of it, but the core of it, which is the actual cooking and building the recipes and creating the recipes, doesn't feel like work, because I honestly just enjoy doing it.
All right, okay. So what we understand from the Guinness World Records for now is that evidences are under review and all of those things, and Lata Tondon has also come out to say it's a long, tedious process that is just hanging there and all of that.
Yes, it is.
Well, you've said in previous conversations with people that you've prepared for about 5 years, and of course in the build-up to the process itself, you needed to do some things. What are those things you needed to do to prepare for this attempt at the Guinness World Records?
Other than obviously registering and trying to get the approval to even attempt the record, there was a lot of planning that went into place. But for my personal improvement, obviously I had to work on my mental state. So I did a lot of meditation, a bit more therapy. And I went to church, I prayed as much as I could. I worked out, I worked with a trainer, Kemen Fitness, and, I did a lot of that to build like my, cardiovascular endurance and to build my core and, my cal strength as well. So physically I had to go through that process. I had to work on like what I ate, my diet, my sleep pattern, and, things like that. But in terms of like the process leading up to the actual event, there were a lot of that we had to do. We obviously had to film, announcement videos. We hosted quite a number of strategy sessions because we worked with, 2 PR agencies. We hosted a dry run. We hosted a number of culinary, strategy meetings to sort of organize what the back end was going to be. That's the prep kitchen, what the prep staff were going to be doing. So it took us about 6 months to plan, the actual event. It took us about 6 months to plan the actual event. Up to execution. It took about 1 year and 5 months from the point where I said this is actually going to happen, to work towards it and get on it. But the idea itself came to me 5 years ago. But then obviously I had to do a lot of personal work. The brand had to grow. I had to evolve as a person as well. So I had to also create a body of work. And that, I wouldn't say that was because, I wanted to do Guinness World Record. But again, I feel like to have gotten to this point where this dream was even feasible, a lot of things had to happen with me as a person. And I think God just put me on that journey, that led me to this point. I hope that answers your question.
Well, sizably, if you don't mind me asking very quickly, you definitely spent a lot of money and not expecting money back from the Guinness World Records. Like, how much did it all come to? If you can hazard a guess.
I can't give figures. I can just say that it was indeed a very, very, very expensive venture, especially doing it at that scale And at that size, it cost a lot of money, but I wouldn't give like specific figures.
Well, perhaps you've begun to recoup your investment, because according to what we hear, you've begun to get endorsements and gifts here and there. Well, you will confirm that in the course of answering my own first question, which is, despite the preparation, congratulations, by the way, Hilda, despite the preparations, 100 hours is not a joke, standing for that long. I wonder if it was the preparation that you talked about that sustained you, or the amount of support from Nigerians who came out, who were standing just outside, that kitchen set that we looked at, that helped you, to hold on until you broke that record.
Honestly, I would say it's the support. Because again, I think I've said this quite a number of times, that my body did fail me, and at a point I was pretty much standing on like God's grace and the support from Nigerians. That was pretty much what put me through, or kept me through that whole time. There were days when the public would come and then they would pray with me and would have worship sessions, and I would say honestly, we just all put our faith together and requested a miracle from God, and he just gave us that miracle. Because if it's just, honestly thinking about it, if it is by physical ability, I'm not the most fit person, despite the fact that I had worked out. I hadn't been working out for years before this. I had been working out for a couple of months leading up to this. So I would say physically, like if we're thinking about it, like physically, I don't think that is so possible. So without the support from Nigerians, without the help of God and the Holy Spirit, there's no way I would have been able to see this through. Honestly, I wouldn't have. My friends were very supportive. They came through in their numbers and they stood with me. I have friends that stood with me for hours on end, just so that I wouldn't feel discouraged. I had supporters standing under the rain, praying with me and cheering me on. And even till now, I still feel a huge sense of gratitude to Nigerians and basically everyone across the world that supported me and were so invested in this attempt. Like, I cannot even thank them enough. Like, I don't take the support for granted one bit. And definitely, I owe this to them.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're proud of you as well. Lastly, I wonder how you feel about reports that one other chef is planning to break your record so soon after you've broken the Guinness Book of Records.
Honestly, I think that's why, the Book of Records is there. You create a record for somebody else to break it, But I just feel like it also has a lot to do with the buzz that has come out of this. And it might sound cliche, but it kind of makes me happy, because again, one of the reasons why I did this was to inspire people to dare to dream and just do it, right? So if people are trying to get on breaking records so soon, it means that we've been able to achieve a little bit, if not in entirety, that goal and that dream. So in the normal human sense of it, please, they should just wait for me to collect my certificates first, so that they can actually break the record. Because again, people say they want to break Hilda's record, but what that means is I have to get my approval, so that is actually the record that they are breaking. Because if that's not the case, then that's not what they're going to be doing. I don't know if you get my point.
Oh yes,
honestly,
we do understand that.
It's a bit exciting to see that, you've done something and now everybody wants to do it. So I don't feel a type of way about it at all.
I don't know what it cost you, but it definitely must have been a lot, not just in money, but in even your personal efforts and sacrifices.
Honestly, even in pulling resources and pulling people together, it was a large team. It was a very, very large team.
I can imagine. Well, Well, just one very quick one in 10 seconds. What's next from Hilda Baci?
Sure. Oh, a lot of things. So I'm working on expanding my restaurant. So we've opened up to, investors now. So we're basically taking, receiving offers from investors because we're trying to expand. I'm working on a couple tours and experiences just across different countries. Working on a cookware line as well. And again, like you rightly stated, a couple brands are coming on board and, trying to work together. So I'm pretty much making the decision on which brand to go with, which brand, best represents my values and things like that. So there are lots of things in the works.
Well, most certainly the world cannot wait to celebrate you, but for now we have to thank you and hope for the best. The governor of Lagos, I understand, says he's going to keep following up on your progress and see what can be done by anyone and everyone to ensure that you get there. You have become a challenge for many 20-something-year-olds. Let's hope they take on the gauntlet as well. Hilda Baci, chef.
Thank you.
We can't call you an aspirant anymore. We can call you a Guinness World Record holder under review. Thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay. All right. If you haven't had breakfast, I guess that's a starter for you. More after this break. Stay with us.